Thank you. Good afternoon. Forgive me, I'm still nursing a little bit of a cold here. My name is Cameron Newsome. I'm a graduate of St. Ignatius class of 2001. It's my pleasure today to speak on behalf of the school, my alumni peers, and future students of the Academy. I hope that you'll get a better understanding of the Academy, its purpose, and how impactful it's been for me. I don't count myself as the ideal candidate to give this speech. The details of my life are not neatly packaged, or they don't really make me the perfect story, nor have I had the perfect path. But I think the hallmark of the Academy, it's its affinity for redemption stories, and I'm one such redemption story. So for some people, their life is planned and mapped out before they become an actor in this play called life. My favorite writer, Ralph Waldo Emerson, says, "We cannot write the order of the variable winds." And I found this to be true in my short 31 years. As fate or providence would have it, in 1998, the variable winds of life brought me to St. Ignatius. I blew in from some pretty dire circumstances. From Sandtown, Winchester, a neighborhood in West Baltimore, now famous for the Freddie Gray riots. I was raised by my father, a single parent of two boys. When I was younger, I actually lived in a homeless shelter on Calvert Street, the Salvation Army shelter, so I had to pass that every day as I got off the 21 bus to go to school. About 1995, my dad got a house through Habitat for Humanity, and he's lived there ever since. So I've had all the ingredients in my background to lead me down the wrong path. Single parent, bad neighborhood, poverty, you name it. St. Ignatius, however, represented a point of redirection. So the Academy afforded me a world-class education and opportunities that most people just don't get to experience. Nothing in my background could possibly qualify me for such opportunities. As a sixth grader, I was selected to take a trip to Cuba with the Baltimore Orioles. That really expanded my perspective. Some of the people I know in the city have never even left the city limits, much less the country. So this was perhaps the most defining moment of my life, and I really got to understand things a little bit differently. First, I had previously had no idea that there was a category of disadvantage that I dwelled in. Not until our story hit the news circuits. Hardship was pretty normal for us, so we didn't understand what they meant when they said that we were from broken homes. What the Academy taught us about ourselves was that what was most important was to live an intentional life and serve the world around us as a man for others. So there was always, second, my hardship was not extraordinary. The spirit of the people I met in Cuba was really indomitable. There was always a cause for optimism, and this along with the philosophy of the Academy, to always be looking and moving forward in spite of hardship, those things really resonated with me. These lessons would become invaluable for me later in life. When I left the Academy, like my peers, I went to one of the best schools in the country. I went to the Lawrenceville School in New Jersey. I graduated in 2005 and went on to the University of Maryland as a pre-med neurophysiology major. However, those variable winds shifted me in a different direction, and I found myself without a degree in the working world as a personal banker for PNC. I probably blame my own decision-making more so than Emerson's winds. Maybe I was jaded by SAT scores or maybe a touch of prep school elitism, but eventually I navigated myself into a career with a global education company. I've been there for about 8 years as a senior advisor. And for 6 of those 8 years, I kept hearing, "You don't belong here." And it was as if someone knew that I had left work undone. So as if they could tell that I was settling for something that just worked. And I agreed. But whatever St. Ignatius planted in me kept pulling me back toward fulfilling a bigger purpose. Whatever it planted in me made me comfortable doing things the hard way. So maybe it was a sense of responsibility cultivated by having to clean the building on Calvert Street, because back then we didn't have a janitorial staff. Or maybe it was a toughness that I learned from having to wrestle on the cement floors of the cafeteria because we didn't have a gym back then. And maybe it was a sense of pride and self-respect that I learned by having to wear a tie every day. and shake the hands of my teachers as I walked into the building. I was reminded of these lessons in 2014, and I went back to school to do it the hard way. So I started back at the bottom at community college. I took 4 classes a term, I worked 50 to 60 hours a week, and I balanced having a wife and a child. So in June of 2016, I started at Georgetown University. I am now on track as summa cum laude, and will be graduating in the spring of next year. Currently, I'm pre-law and planning to attend law school afterwards. Eventually, what I want to do with law is get into education reform. It's important for me to start a school modeled after St. Ignatius. Whatever I did learn from St. Ignatius, the one big takeaway is it needs to be duplicated. Education has been what's excluded me from a lot of statistics of West Baltimore. I know that because I have friends in those statistics, both living and deceased. Some of them found their place while I was here at school from 7:30 to 5, and some of them found their place in those statistics while I was away at boarding school. The values of hard work and purposeful action guided me in helping me to understand the importance of serving the greater good as a man for others. I momentarily lost that in my first round of college, but as I told Georgetown University in my admissions essay, it was essential and beneficial that I found them and acted on them in order to get back to the path of fulfillment. So I don't know that I could have been prepared to remedy my own failures or to be an agent of my own rescue if it had not been for what I learned at the academy. The lessons help keep me grounded. They help keep me focused, and they are the reason I am where I am today. All the young men that come through the academy have the types of stories that will break your heart and really make you ask why it has to be that way. The circumstances have equipped them for reasons to quit and pursue mediocrity and really comply with those variable wins. But St. Ignatius equips my peers, myself, and future students to navigate and own those wins, to be prepared by them. Thank you.